Assalamu alaikum dear students. I hope all of you are doing well. We are here with our second part of the lecture on diabetes. So before moving on to the lecture, let's have the learning objectives for today's lecture. By the end of this lecture, you all should be able to classify anti-diabetic drugs, should be able to elaborate the mechanism of action and adverse effects of the next two groups, which are thiazolidinediones and alpha-glucosidase inhibitors. We'll have an overview about the new drugs for diabetes mellitus. This was the classification we discussed in the previous lecture, and let's revise it quickly so that we can move on. Broadly classified into insulin secretagogues, which are sulfonylureas. We discussed about the two generations, their differences on the basis of pharmacokinetics and adverse effects. Then meglinotides, which are also secretagogues and specifically given in those patients who cannot tolerate the sulfa drugs because of sulfa allergy. Then we had the bigonides, which are also insulin sensitizers. One of them is metformin, the only available bigonide nowadays. Fenformin is withdrawn from the market because of lactic acidosis. Although metformin also causes this adverse effect, but it's very rare. But with fenformin, it's very common. So this is another MCQ, why fenformin was withdrawn from the market. So there will be many options and you have to know that it is causing lactic acidosis. Then we have thiazolidinediones, which are also insulin sensitizer like bigonides, which we'll be covering in today's lecture. Then alpha glucosidase inhibitors and few newer drugs. This is a picture again showing the site of action of the various oral hypoglycemic drugs. Bigonides are targeting the liver, entering the liver through the OCT transporter, which is organic cation transporter. This can be asked in your MCQ, and they are basically decreasing the AMP kinase dependent hepatic gluconeogenesis. Then secretagogues, which are causing increased release of insulin from the pancreas. These are sulfonylureas and meglinotides. Today we'll be covering thiazolidinediones, which are basically acting on the uptake of sugar by muscle and fat cells, and the other drug group is alpha glucosidase inhibitors, which slows the absorption of the glucose in the gut. So let's see how do we classify and further move on. Number one is alpha glucosidase inhibitor. They are acarbose. They are euglycemic as they also do not cause hypoglycemia. Remember one thing, those drugs which are causing the release of secretion of insulin, they are going to cause hypoglycemia more as compared to those which are not causing. Mechanism, they inhibit the alpha glucosidase enzyme where it is located in the brush border of small intestine. Decreases the formation of absorbable carbohydrate in return, leading to decrease in postprandial glucose and decrease in demand for insulin. As you can see clearly, this is the brush border of the intestinal cell. Here, the enzyme alpha glucosidase acts, and we give acarbose, which inhibits this enzyme and conversion of sucrose into fructose, and glucose is inhibited. Common adverse effects of acarbose are flatulence, loose stools or diarrhea, abdominal pain, and alone it does not cause hypoglycemia. Our next drug group is thiazolidinedione derivatives, in which we have rosiglitazone, pioglitazone. How do they act? This is very important short question as well as it can be asked in an MCQ as well. Please note down. They bind to PPAR. What is PPAR? Nuclear peroxisome proliferator activating receptors involved in transcription of insulin responsive gene. This is the molecular level how thiazolidinediones act and cause sensitization of tissues to insulin. That is why they are called insulin sensitizers. They also decrease hepatic gluconeogenesis and the level of triglycerides and increase the number of insulin receptors. So they have mechanism of action at three levels. At the gene level, they increase the transcription of insulin responsive gene. At the level of liver, decreases hepatic gluconeogenesis and also increases the number of insulin receptors. So by three mechanisms they act and act as oral hypoglycemic agents. Diagrammatic representation of the same thing. This is a PPAR receptor, and at the level of the nuclear gene transcription is stimulated or inhibited. So there are various types of PPAR receptors: alpha, gamma, and delta. I hope you are familiar with these receptors, as we have previously covered one type of receptor in cardiovascular system as well. If you can recall, anti-hyperlipidemic drugs, fibrates, act by activating this PPAR alpha. However, this thiazolidine diones act at the level of PPAR gamma. They increase the insulin action, they increase the adipocyte differentiation, and increase fat uptake and storage, and decrease the lipid concentration. So this can also be asked in MCQ, which of the following acts as a at the PPAR gamma receptor or alpha receptor. So gamma के ऊपर act कर रहे हैं thiazolidine diones, whereas alpha के ऊपर act कर रहे हैं anti hyperlipidemics में से fibrate. So this is another important MCQ. Please note down. Adverse effects are mild to moderate edema. That is why they are contraindicated in patients with congestive heart failure, weight gain, headache, myalgias, and hepatotoxicity. In students at this stage, if you have any question or scenario that a type 2 diabetic patient comes to you and he has a history of insulin resistance, and you have to give a drug which is insulin sensitizer, but he has a history of cardiac failure, then these drugs are contraindicated. Then you may go for other drugs which increases the insulin sensitization. Okay. Similarly, this diagram is once again showing the level of different oral hypoglycemic drugs acting at different stages, like metformin and thiazolidine diones. They are acting at the level of liver, decreasing the gluconeogenesis. And glitazones and metformin also enhance the uptake of glucose into the muscle. And these are the oral sulfonylureas and the glenides, which increase the release of insulin from the pancreas, hence they are called secretagogues. Then we discussed about alpha glucosidase inhibitors like acarbose, which inhibits the enzyme, and there is decreased level of blood glucose. So please try to understand the basic pathophysiology, how blood glucose is increased, and how we can give different drugs to decrease the blood glucose level and treat the diabetes. Move on to the newer drugs, just a layout of the newer drugs, and the details of these drugs would be covered in our tomorrow's lecture. Okay, this is a very important diagram to show the review of insulin secretion. Basically, what happens whenever you take the food intake, there is release of glucagon like peptide 1, which is called GLP-1, and incretins are one of them. They perform two functions. Number one, they stimulate the insulin release, and secondly, they inhibit the glucagon release. Ultimately, these two actions will lead to decrease in the blood glucose level. It's very good that whenever you are taking a high food intake, your blood glucose, instead of rising at once, it stays under steady control. Okay, so these have a very beneficial effect, but this action is very short-lived, as these incretins or GLP-1 analogs are metabolized by the enzyme DPP-4 enzyme, which is called dipeptidyl peptidase 4, which causes the metabolism of incretins. So now we have designed the drugs which block the enzyme DPP-4 and increase the level of GLP-1, and GLP-1 can perform its function properly and keep the blood glucose under control. So in the newer drugs, we can say they are GLP-1 agonist, incretins are one of them, and we have DPP-4 enzyme inhibitors. This is the same thing, showing it is also called incretin effect. After the food intake from the intestine, when there is absorption of the blood glucose, there is the release of incretins, which perform two functions: increasing the insulin release and decreasing the glucagon concentration, and leading to decrease in the blood glucose level. And this is the DPP-4 enzyme causing the metabolism of these GLP analogs. With that, we end today's lecture. I have divided this whole topic of oral hypoglycemic drugs into small chunks so that we'll be covering in 3 parts. Initially, it was decided to cover in 2 parts, but I want you to memorize them along with me and consult your notebooks as well or other resources to update your knowledge because it's a very important topic. So your assignment for today is to classify all hypoglycemic drugs, but you have to classify not in a very simple way. You have to classify on the basis of, like you can classify in on the basis of their mechanism of action, on the basis of their chemical structure, on the basis of their route of administration, because some of the newer drugs which we are going to cover in the next lecture are also given through injectable routes, although they are hypoglycemic drugs. Generally, in mind comes insulin is the only injectable given for diabetes, but now there are newer drugs which are also given as injectables. So classify them, write down in your notebook and send it in your WhatsApp group. Do a little research from your books, consult other resources like internet, and customize your own classification. So those students who will be providing me with the best classification, they would be their roll numbers would be given to Professor Saab, and he can read the classification. It's not very simple that you just see the book and classify or enumerate them because there are various methods of classifying drugs. Like we have given you the classification handout. Similarly, build your own classification for diabetic, anti-diabetic drugs. Okay, in my classification, I can give you example. It is mixed. Okay, I've also given bigonides, alpha glucosidase inhibitors. I've also given secretagogues. You can also say like some are secretagogues, some are insulin sensitizers, or some are euglycemic, some are hypoglycemic. So this is your very own choice. How do you want to classify them? So this is your task, and kindly send it to the WhatsApp group. And secondly, in the next lecture, which will be held tomorrow, we'll be covering the newer drugs and few MCQs and few university question SCQs which are repeatedly asked. And I want to remind you that on Saturday you have a test on Socrative MCQs on 2 topics, which are corticosteroids and anti-diabetic drugs. You will be the test would be about comprising of 15 MCQs. So be prepared for the subject, consult your lectures, also your books, and books can be Mini Kedzing or the Lippincott, and resources so can be asked from the internet as well. So do a little discussion with your friends, and I hope all of you would score full marks. And if any questions or queries, you are more than welcome to ask me anytime or any of our respective teachers in your groups. And with that, we end the lecture. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow.